welcome back to the Purple Podcast. Here we are, back again. Got you out an episode yesterday. I'm going to get you another one today. This one is going to be, like I said, our completely football-related episode here. So starting that off, this is going to be a tough week for me, considering both my teams, the Kentucky Wildcats and the Miami Dolphins, suffered their first defeats of the seasons. Both pretty hard games to talk about in terms of, what happened in them, of course, the Tua Tagovailoa concussion instances, of course, as well as, the Will Levis fumbles, and just, that whole scenario. But before we get into those games, what we'll do is we'll first touch on, my fantasy football follow along. Both of those teams actually have their first wins of this week. So, funny there in that I hadn't won a game in fantasy yet this year, which was incredible to begin with. I definitely deserved it, but in terms of how many points I've scored, but took me until week 4 to get my first win, and it took 175 points. I get 163 put against me, and then into, I guess, Monday with the San Francisco LA game, Cooper Kupp and Tyler Higbee did me pretty well. Pulled that one out, but I was down going into that last game. I was down by 30 points, ended up winning that one. So that league, I am now 1-3, and just the craziest shit about that is that I've had 572 points scored against me. The next closest is 540, but then the next closest to that is 504. So a lot of points have been scored against me. I've scored 549 points, and the next closest to that, there is one ahead of me someone has 569 points on the year, but the next closest to me, besides that, has scored 502. So just kind of an anomaly that I'm in 7th place right now with one win. So that's one league. The other league, I also got my first win, and in that one, it's kind of some of the same story in terms of just how many points I've had scored against me. In that league, I've had 620 points scored against me. The next closest is 609. So that's decently close, but the next closest to that 609 number is 583. So I've had far and wide more points scored against me. I've scored 559. Not as many points, but that is, the person who has scored the most points in the league has scored 582. But then there's 3 people who scored 559, funny enough. But the thing is, I'm scoring points. I've just had a lot of points scored against me. So going forward, I think, if it continues, of course, you never know. But the team should trend up, hopefully make a push towards the playoffs, and pretty much undoubtedly shouldn't come in last. I say shouldn't, but who knows? Had some horrible luck. We get our first wins on the board in terms of fantasy. So good to see that when, the actual real football world has hurt me a bit this week. So with that being said, let's jump into this game. The Kentucky Wildcats go to Oxford and take on the Ole Miss Rebels and end up losing that game 22-19 in heartbreaking fashion. We beat ourselves. Plain and simple. I mean, let's look at some of my thoughts on the game. We'll start with the bad because, we lost this, so we'll look at that. Fumble the ball 3 times, unacceptable. Lose 2 of those, and of course that late one that, we're driving right after literally an illegal motion call, they call it. And it is on Will Levis, a great play by Dane Key, who didn't have his biggest game, but we see what he can do. Made an absolutely amazing 50-50 jump ball catch. Should have won us the game. Didn't. The next play we fumbled. There's the controversial targeting. Honestly, I wouldn't have called it. I would have been mad the other way around if they called it. Will Levis ducks down. Yes, helmets hit. It's football. Sorry, he fumbled the ball. You got to hold on to it. That's basically plain and simple. Other than that, we have our 2 missed extra points. We flubbed those up, as well as a missed 39-yard field goal. Points left on the board, and then. Again, just poor play from both our O-line and D-line. We get 0 sacks from the defensive line. That's just pathetic. That's 2 weeks in a row that we have had 0 sacks. Just pretty much unacceptable. You need to get in there. We're not giving up a ton of points, obviously, but having 0 sacks in 2 straight games is just a horrible look overall. And then we give up 3 sacks as well as 9 tackle for losses. Unacceptable play. In terms of the good, Chris Rodriguez looks good in his return, had 19 carries for 72 yards, only a 3.8 average, did have a touchdown, but he kept the ball moving forward. He's always getting us at least those, he's getting 3.8 yards every time. So I'll take that. It's fine. But would love to see a little bit higher of an average. But, that comes with the O-line not doing the best. Will Levis, another 0 interception game. He has that bad fumble. And then there was another fumble that I guess he got stripped from him, held on too long, and gets tackled in the end zone. I think that was a safety as well. So I think that's mutually on him as well as the O-line there. But there are still some exciting things. This team should have won the game. We beat it. We beat ourselves. It's only one loss. We still control our destiny to some extent. We're going to have to win out, of course, but, anyways, we're going to have to still beat Tennessee and Georgia. And, there's other games. We have to win all the rest too. But those are going to be tall tasks to begin with. So we'll see. If we win those games, of course, we're going to win the SEC East. That is, like I said, an incredibly tall task. But Georgia looked human this week playing against Missouri. So that gives us a little more hope than what might have initially been, thought of in terms of what that game's looking like there. But Barry Brown is him. Just an unbelievable performance from him. Only had 2 receptions for 81 yards, which in itself is pretty crazy. I'll take those 81 yards, even though they're only on 2 receptions there. But, his performance in the special teams kickoff return, he has 3 kickoff returns in the game for 164 yards. He averaged 54.7 yards per return, 185-yard return as well. So it wasn't just one long return that bumped up his average. He was, he looks like the fastest player on that field. He's going to be a pro player. I have no doubt in that. But with that game, like I said, I think we beat ourselves. Ole Miss, congrats to you, win the game, but we really should have won that game. I have no doubt in that. They didn't put up big numbers. They didn't do anything like that. But chalk it up. That's a loss. Heartbreaking fashion. Would have been a huge one to win because, now we move back in the rankings. We were 7th. That would have been a huge win at home. And, like I said, we just basically beat ourselves there. Other than that, let's move forward. Looking into the next game, we have South Carolina. Very winnable game in my mind. They come off a 50-10 victory, but that's against South Carolina State. Spencer Rattler threw for 212, had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So I think we're going to be able to beat that team. Main keys to that game, I think we have to have no turnovers. That would keep them in it. Of course, no fumbles because we've had back-to-back weeks of multiple fumbles, and that's just not sustainable football. I want to see us run the ball. I want to see Chris Rodriguez have his biggest game. I want to see him have a giant breakout game here. I want us to stomp South Carolina. Honestly, we should run through this team. In terms of the stats, I've looked around at them. Their team is they're putting up points, but they've played South Carolina State as well as I think Charlotte. So they've had like 2 back-to-back 50-point games. So not necessarily too worried about that. Our defense has honestly been the strong part of our team this year. Our offensive numbers don't look great, but I think we win this game pretty handedly. Not really much to see it out of it. I want to see us play a very clean game because last week was just so disgusting. We come out in a -6 favor right now. I would take us against the spread. I think we beat this team. South Carolina looked really bad against Georgia. Played Arkansas all right earlier in the year, losing 44-30. But what's to say about their 2 last wins? And Spencer Rattler, I think we get to him. Well, I think we, stop him in terms of passing. I think our pass coverage has been very good, even though we're getting no defensive line pressure, essentially. So that's another testament to how well our DBs have played. A lot of questions came into the year with Valentine, but he's played well. He's had a good season so far, so keep it up. I think this is a good week. I think this is a good bounce-back game. I think we do take it. Not really much to note. I think we do I think we do beat them. We're number 13 now. I think we take this one down. And that's basically it for that game there. I want to see us get a fucking sack this week, please. D-line, please. But moving forward, looking around the country, I'm not going to do the wrap up. I'm going to keep this one short since it's already been a week since all that happened. Anyways, let's go through our games here, see what we can see what's interesting. I'll take the money lines as well in these. Michigan, Indiana, of course, Michigan, I'll take that. Tennessee at LSU. LSU is at 25 now. I'm going to take Tennessee in that one. They look really good. Very interesting matchup in Kansas. We have number 17 TCU, who just stomped Oklahoma last week. Big statement game from them. And, Kansas, who's still undefeated. So that's probably the marquee matchup of the week for me. Unless I see something else down here that looks a little bit better. But TCU, Kansas, I like that game. I'm going to stick with, TCU looks so damn good, man. Let's go with the Horned Frogs. I'll take TCU at Kansas in that one. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Arkansas is no longer ranked. They're playing at Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State has kind of surprised some folks. So I'll take Mississippi State in that one as well. Continuing on down, we have the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma, Texas. Neither of those teams are ranked. I wonder, honestly, there probably has been a time recently when they both have not been ranked. I don't know, though, because Oklahoma's typically been ranked, but both of them are not ranked at this point. Texas at Oklahoma. I honestly prefer Texas to Oklahoma. Don't like either of those teams too much, but I'll take Texas there. Louisville in Virginia. Louisville at Virginia. That's always... I feel like Louisville typically has a tough time against Virginia. Let's take Virginia. I'll stick with I got there. That's not even a hater bet. I don't like Louisville, obviously. I'm a Kentucky fan. But that's not a hater bet. I'm going to go with Virginia in that one. Even though Louisville's offenses look good, they just had a tough loss against Boston College. They might have the worst defense in the country. Louisville, sorry, your offense can keep you in it. I've said it before, but I think Virginia wins that game. Continue on down. The Cincinnati Bearcats are now ranked number 24 in the country. They will be playing South Florida. I think they take that one pretty handedly. Auburn at Georgia. No doubt I'm taking Georgia in that one. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ranks 7th. I've liked this Texas Tech team. I think they'll play them competitively, but I think OK State takes that one. Utah at UCLA. UCLA with a big statement game of their own. I can't remember who they beat last week, but beat them pretty good, and I think I maybe picked the other team in it. Can't recall. Anyways, I'm going to take UCLA over Utah. I kind of like the Bruins to some extent, like their colors, and the Jordan brand is pretty tight. So I'm going to take UCLA in that. Continuing on down here, nothing too interesting. Ohio State at Michigan State. Michigan State has been probably one of the biggest disappointments this year. They started out pretty highly ranked and just haven't performed in any of their games. So I think Ohio State wins that one pretty handedly as well. Ole Miss, those fuckers play at Vandy. I can't take Vandy. I really just can't do that, but I kind of really want to. Upset alert, baby. Let's go Vandy. I'll take Vandy. Fuck it. Washington at Arizona State. I think Washington wins that one as well. Moving down, not seeing anything too interesting. Clemson at Boston College. Interesting matchup. Boston College played, they looked decent against Louisville. At Boston College, it's a little bit of a trip. Clemson, a South Carolina team, going up to Boston. A little bit chillier of weather. Home field advantage. Boston College with the upset. Let's go upset crazy this week. Boston College. I'll take Boston College in that one. USC, Washington State. I will take USC in that one. The Cats, like I said, are going to take down South Carolina. Wake Forest, I do believe they will beat Army. BYU at Notre Dame. Interesting. I really don't like Notre Dame, so I'm going to go with BYU in that one. Number 20, Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State's decent. Kansas State's strong. Let's take K-State to win that one. Alabama A&M. I think Alabama's like a 23-point favorite in that one. I will take Alabama, but I think A&M covers. NC State, Florida State. Florida State. I wish I would have seen some of the last games. I didn't look at all of them, but NC State looks pretty strong. Just came up short against Clemson last week. I think Florida State gives them a battle. I said we're going to stick with the upsets. Let's go Florida State in that one. Oregon at Arizona. We'll go with Oregon, and that'll basically do it for anything that's any kind of interesting in terms of games this week. Let's move on forward to another not very fun thing to talk about for me, this Dolphins-Bengals game that occurred, over a week ago. At this point, sorry for the lateness of it, but a tough one. We're still 3-1 at the end of the day. That's the way I look at it. There's a lot of controversy concerning the Tua Tagovailoa concussion. Very ugly, wish the best for him. Hope he's, recovering well at this point, which it appears he is. And it's looking like it's going to be coming down to some kind of NFL protocol issue, not necessarily a Dolphins issue. They did fire the independent neurologist who, I guess, deduced that he was fine to return to the initial Bills game and then play on Thursday against the Bengals. Hindsight's 2020. Probably was a concussion, but it seems what has came out so far is that the protocol was followed, and then maybe the protocol was insufficient and didn't catch it somehow or another. Obviously, I think it's going to be changed to if you see any kind of gross motor, function. That's when they're going to say, no, you can't play. And then there will be even, I guess, maybe further evaluation. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to point the finger at the Dolphins. There's been a lot of that. Of course, I'm not going to do it to my team, and it's a tough position to be in. If the independent neurologist clears him to play, I think it's just a tough position as a coach. What are you supposed to do if you're told he's fine, if you're told it's not head-related? How do you approach that? Of course, everyone can say, no, it's obviously a concussion. Get fucking mad. I get that 100%. What I'm saying is if he's cleared, they said it wasn't head-related, it kind of puts you in a tricky situation as a coach. So there will be changes. Of course, I see that coming. Hopefully there aren't any negative repercussions on the Dolphins because, if they did follow the protocol, what else are you supposed to do? The protocol might just be broken. We do see now in hindsight that maybe, the protocol does need to be fixed. I'm going on and on about it. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. Overall, I just wish the best for Tua. I hope he has no other head injuries throughout his whole entire NFL career. I hope the NFL gets better at, you don't want to see those things, obviously, but it is a game. It's a violent game. Shit sucks. Shit happens. We saw it just last night with Nyheim Hines. It took one hit for him to be walking around like Bambi, and I don't mean that in a joking way. I mean, truthfully, he looked like a newborn horse. Like his legs were wobbling. He couldn't walk at all. So concussions are going to happen. It's how we go from here, how we evolve and move forward. There's a lot of finger pointing. That's how it goes. That's the nature of the beast. People want to say Mike McDaniel is saying the wrong thing as well. Whatever, man. Throw the stones. He's not, dancing to your tune. He's not saying the exact words that you're looking from his mouth. I'm pretty sure him and Tua Tagovailoa have a pretty good relationship. I don't think there's any kind of harm or foul between each other. I don't think Mike McDaniel intentionally put him in harm's way. Like I said, it comes back to him being cleared, them saying it's not head-related, and then, the continuing following, seeing and saying that basically, no, it's not head-related. I don't know how it's back-related. I don't know how the body fully works either, though, so I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor. It probably was a concussion, but that's it. Let's put that to bed. We'll look into the actual game, look at some of the good points of that game, which there's not a ton, of course, just because it was a very depressing day in itself. But Tua looked really strong in the game while he was there. Led us right down the field. That first drive should have been a touchdown. Chase Edmonds drops. That was one bad interception. Don't know how much, his pre-existing injuries might have affected that throw. I don't know. Bad pick there, but ends up getting hurt. Of course, Teddy comes in. Late interception by him. That's a bad point from this game. really shouldn't have happened. There was 6 minutes left. We had a chance to win this game. We end up losing 27-15. I don't think I discussed the score yet, but we lose 27-15. It was 20-15 with 6 minutes left in the fourth. We were driving, moving the ball very, very well. Just a bad interception to trying to get it to Mike Gesicki, forced in that window. So that's something to look for in this next game as well. We just can't, Teddy, play within yourself. But other good points in the game, Raheem Mostert has his best game of the year. We give him 15 carries, goes for 69 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. And a team who's been, fairly terrible at running the ball so far this year. We rank pretty low in terms of that, probably 31st in terms of rushing yards per game. Very low. Anyways, had a good look from him. Would love to see that carry on to this next week as well. Tyreek Hill is still a menace. We have Teddy Bridgewater in there, and he still goes with 10 receptions, 160 yards. No touchdowns, but good game for him in itself there. Bad points, of course, the Tua injury. We had a lot of secondary injuries as well, so you get Xavier Howard out of there. Brandon Jones comes out, and we're still running zero coverage. I think that's a bad choice as a coach. If you don't know what zero coverage is, it basically means you're one-on-one with your man as a corner. You have no safety help. And when you have guys like T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Burrow, who loves to sling the cocoa to begin with, just a recipe for disaster. Just gave up some pretty big receptions. Tyler Boyd had a long reception of 43 yards, Jamar Chase of 36, and T. Higgins of 59. So those are just too big of plays to be giving up, and I think a lot of that is from running that zero coverage with your backup guys in there. So looking forward ahead, like I said, it's one loss. Tua, rest up. Get you well. We've already noted that Teddy is going to be playing this next week. There's no timeline on when Tua is coming back yet, which is probably the right political way to play it. Don't give it a timeline yet, even though they're probably thinking, 2 or 3 games out from now, well, including this Jets game. So he could play maybe even this next week after that. Like I said, we're not going to rush that. No one's going to do that. We're going to make sure he's, over and above perfectly fine. So don't expect to see him this week, probably not the week after that, if I had to guess. But then the discussion becomes, juicier that third week. But the Jets, we'll be playing the Jets. This is another manageable game. So like the Cats coming off a tough loss and then being able to face a South Carolina team who isn't amazing, very winnable game. The Dolphins have a game against the Jets, which is a winnable game. That team has played well, so it's not going to just be a handout by any means. But the Jets, they come off a win in Pittsburgh, so tough place to play, tough defense. That Pittsburgh team is in a rough place. Kenny Pickett came in, throws 3 interceptions, so not the most impressive win, of course. But Zach Wilson is back, doesn't have a great game himself. Was 18 of 36 for 252 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. I think we beat him up this week. Truthfully, I think we give him a lot of coverages and difficulties. I just don't think he's going to be really the guy that beats us. I think our defense should be able to hold him. I think that should allow Teddy to play within himself. So looking at those keys to this game, Teddy needs to play within himself, get the ball to the playmakers, do what you can. We need to run the ball as well. I want to see Raheem Mostert get a big week, back up, get 2 weeks back-to-back of us, maybe focus a little more on the run now that we have a chance to let Teddy do his, a little dink and dunk and get it to Tyreek, Jalen Waddle. Issue with that is we do have 3 receivers on the injury report right now. I think both Tyreek and Jalen are questionable, and I know Cedric Wilson was also on the injury report. I don't think it's anything too terrible with him, but Tyreek and Jalen are both on the injury report currently and listed as questionable. So we need to see these guys playing. X is not on the injury report, so I think we're going to have him back, but he had a quad injury and ended up pulling him out. So we'll see what ends up coming. So that's a big point in this game as well. Who's playing? Injuries could hurt us. Turnovers will hurt us. But I think if we play a good, clean game, play within ourselves. There's no reason we shouldn't win this game. Zach Wilson doesn't do it for me. I think, Joe Flacco's actually had a very, very good year so far. Obviously, you picked Zach Wilson second overall, so you're going to play him. He's back now. I think we get to him. I think we rough him up. I think he has a couple picks against us. And I do think we end up winning that game, push us to 4-1, another week forward. So pretty good scenario with having Teddy now as the starter for this game or two. A very winnable game. I think overall our team, we might give up some yards in terms of defense, but Zach Wilson, like I said, doesn't really scare me. We're a don't break defense anyways, so I think we get a turnover or two, maybe off Zach Wilson himself. I think we win that one. I think we win it by I'm going to give us a touchdown. Right now the spread consensus is -3.5. I think we win that one by a touchdown. I don't think we're going to necessarily light up the scoreboard. I think we have potential to. They have a decent defense. I want to see us run the ball well. I want to see us not turn the ball over. And I want to see us get a couple turnovers. And I think we win the game pretty handily, like I said. We'll go ahead and move on from this game. We'll look at the games around the country here last night. An absolute stinker. 12-9 ends up being the end score. In overtime, the Colts beat Denver. Russell Wilson is not riding at all. Just terrible, dude. Like, you have to be sick to your stomach as the owner of the Broncos who decided to give him that contract and to see what he's doing here. I don't know what it is. Is it like he just doesn't give a fuck? Is he I don't know. Like, he missed a wide open receiver in the end zone, which would have won the game easily. I like the idea to run that ball too or roll out. I don't know. Just the play call itself, I didn't love. And then the execution was also probably worse. Like, the play call isn't the worst thing ever. I would have liked to see a run, but the play call of, or not the play call, just the execution. Russ, where are you looking? You looked at Cortland Sutton the whole entire time. Stephon Gilmore had already picked your ass off once, which got the game to overtime to begin with, you jackass. And then just bad. Man, he had someone wide open. That guy threw a fit. I don't even blame him. Really, that wide receiver, I can't think of his name right now, number 1. But just a bad look. The Broncos look really, really sad. Colts steal a win. I don't think you're excited about your team anyways either, but you do get a win. I think they're 2-1 now. It'd have been hilarious if they got another tie, but Denver didn't kick the field goal. They tried to go for it, and Stephon Gilmore comes up with a giant play there. Another shout-out to Alec Pierce, a former Cincinnati Bearcat, and if you've been listening to the show or know me at all, I was for 4 years a Cincinnati Bearcat fan with my good buddy Desmond Ridder playing quarterback for them, and Alec Pierce was a Bearcat as well with him, had a great year last year. That was a very fun team to watch. So good to see him succeeding, making some plays on this next level. He has the body for it. He has the attributes. So maybe if Matt Ryan's not throwing you the ball, you might even have a better year or better career going forward. And I don't think he's going to be their quarterback for that long considering how bad he's played so far this year. But let's look around the country now. Giants at Green Bay. Like I said, I'm just going to do money lines here. I think the Giants have been pretty tough so far. I'll take them to play decently well with the Pack, but I think the Packers do win this one. Steelers at Buffalo. I think Buffalo creams the Steelers. I actually don't have any. Money line bet, obviously, I'd have to see the spread. I bet it's pretty high, but I'm going to take the Buffalo in that one. The Chargers at Cleveland haven't looked great. I'm gonna take Cleveland in that one. Chargers just seem kind of soft. They should be a lot better. That AFC West has seemed soft so far, but yeah, I'm gonna take the Browns in that one off first glance. The Bears go into Minnesota and play the Vikings. I think the Vikings do win that one. I think Kirk. It might be a Kirk game. He plays better at home, but the Bears they're just not great. Let's take we'll take the Vikes there. Detroit at New England. You got to think that Bill probably can scheme up pretty well, see how the goofball does. But I think the goofball gets it done, baby. Detroit will let them rock, take it home in New England there. Seattle at New Orleans. Let's take Seattle. Geno Smith, keep riding, baby. That's hilarious. That's another thing to note there. Russell Wilson is having a worse year than Geno Smith, his backup in Seattle. So he left. The grass is not always greener. Put that in your notes. It's a very real thing, very cliche, but the grass is not always greener. Russell Wilson stinking it up this year. Geno Smith having a very efficient year on a Seattle team that, looks better than the Broncos currently. The Falcons at Tampa Bay. Whoo, Marcus Mariota. I can't even say this. I don't mean this mean. I'm just going to say injury alert because that defense is scary. Marcus Mariota runs the ball. He gets hit. Injury alert. Do we see Desmond in this one? That'd be a tough game to come into, but I believe in my boy. He came into that Bama game, played pretty decent there himself. So I think he's had the looks, baby. So I'm gonna take Tampa Bay. Just a little notes there in terms of the injury alert, and I don't wish it upon anyone. Don't take that the wrong way. Tennessee at Washington. I'm gonna take. Let's take the Commanders. Whatever. Houston at Jacksonville. I'll take the Jags. San Francisco, Carolina. I will take San Francisco in that one as well. People kind of getting a little higher on them at this point as well with that pretty impressive win against LA. But they've had their number too. So, and the Panthers are just bad. So I'm going to take the 49ers in that one. Dallas at LA. Tough because I don't love Dallas still. They've won all their games with the Cooper Rush so far, but LA has looked bad, but LA's still good. And how long can they keep playing this bad? Like they can look really good, but that's a tough defense. So we're gonna go with Dallas on that one. We're gonna have them win against LA. Philadelphia against the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to take Philly in that one. And then we'll have the Bengals and Baltimore Ravens finishing up on Sunday night. Baltimore's secondaries look bad. We'll take the Bengals in that one. And then the Raiders and Kansas City on Monday night. We're going to take the Chiefs there. But that'll do it for this week. Quick one, 32 minutes. It's running in on 33. So finishing it up, this is what we're looking for, guys. This is exciting. We will have a little more next time because next week we will be looking into the past week as well. We skipped that because it's already so far in the past pretty much. But, yeah, I think these should stick to around probably 40 minutes or so. Then we'll try to keep them under 40. But, yeah, everybody, it's Friday. It is my birthday. We're going to party this weekend. A lot of football. Let's get back in track with the teams. Let's keep the fantasy wins, keep them rolling. But other than that, guys, love you all. Thank you for listening. I appreciate the support, and always never forget that. So, yeah, keep living well, guys. I love you. Purple Podcast, episode number 23. Peace.